Boxing fans thought they were about to see the next big step in the heavyweight changing of the guard. Instead, they've been handed a delay that has everyone talking about timing, risk, and how fragile momentum can be at the very top of the sport. Moses Itauma, the 21-year-old phenom many are calling the future of the heavyweight division, was supposed to be back under the lights next Saturday against Jermaine Franklin. It was set up perfectly. Another main event slot, another chance to show he's not just hype, and another opportunity to send a message to the older names still sitting near the top of the rankings. But a late twist in camp has forced the whole plan onto pause. The fight with Franklin wasn't some tune-up mismatch. It was carefully chosen. Itauma has been running through opponents in frightening fashion, ending fights in a round or two, even as his competition has steadily improved over the last couple of years. That's a dream scenario for marketing and highlight reels, but it leaves one big question hanging over any young knockout artist. What happens when somebody doesn't go away? That's where Jermaine Franklin comes into the picture. Franklin has built a reputation as a tough, durable heavyweight who's gone the distance with serious punchers. Dillian Whyte couldn't stop him. Anthony Joshua, with all his power and experience, heard the final bell when they fought. Franklin might not be a reigning champion, but he's proven he's not easy to move. For Itauma, agreeing to that matchup while sitting on the edge of world title contention was a bold choice. If all he wanted was to protect his ranking and keep the hype machine running, he could have picked a much softer touch. Instead, he and his team looked at Franklin and saw what every serious prospect eventually needs: a test that can give you rounds, force adjustments, and show you and everyone watching how you respond when the guy in front of you doesn't fold at the first clean shot. If he had managed to do what Whyte and Joshua couldn't, stop Franklin inside the distance, you don't need anyone to tell you how big that would have been. That kind of performance would instantly change how fans and matchmakers talk about you. It becomes a measuring stick. Promoters don't even have to say anything. The result speaks for itself. The stage for that test was a Queensberry Promotions card branded as Magnificent 7, a show built around multiple, evenly matched, high-stakes fights. Itauma versus Franklin was slated to top the bill, giving Moses his second straight appearance as a headliner. That alone tells you how highly Queensberry rate him. You don't close a card like that with just anybody. You put your best future asset out there and hope he justifies the faith. Then came the update no one wanted to hear. Queensberry announced that Itauma had picked up an injury in training ahead of the January 24 date. No dramatic scene in the ring, no controversial opponent withdrawal, just the reality of elite boxing. Long camps, hard sparring, and the constant risk that the body says, "not today," at exactly the wrong time. Because Moses was the main event, the whole show has been shifted rather than patched up. Instead of going ahead next weekend, the Magnificent 7 card has been moved in its entirety to Saturday, March 28th, with the new venue locked in at Co-op Live in Manchester. That's not a small tweak or a minor delay. For fighters, trainers, and fans, a move like that changes everything: preparation, weight management, travel, even ticket arrangements. The official message was straightforward. Itauma is injured, he can't fight on January 24th, and because the event was built around his main event, they've decided to push the whole thing back to late March. There's still a question mark around what happens to the rest of the undercard. Some bouts might stay on the rescheduled show, others could be peeled off and dropped onto different cards in the coming weeks. Right now, it's all to be confirmed. From a business perspective, you can see why they did it this way. Itauma is the selling point. Magnificent 7 wasn't just going to be a card, it was going to be his card. Once he's out of action for that date, the entire marketing hook disappears. You can scramble to fill the top slot, but you're left with a show that looks and feels completely different from what fans were told to expect. For Itauma himself, this delay is complicated. On one hand, every fighter's first priority has to be health. There's no point walking into a fight half fit, especially against a tough heavyweight who can punch back. Fans love to say no excuses after the fact. They don't always appreciate the risk of forcing your body through a wall it shouldn't go through. If Moses is going to live up to the talk of being the future of the division, he can't be burning himself out on the way there. On the other hand, timing is everything in a sport like this. He's 21, unbeaten at 13-0 with 11 knockouts. The hype isn't theoretical anymore. It's built on a string of violent early finishes. He's been headlining, getting main event experience, and inching closer to that first crack at a world title. The Franklin fight was supposed to move him one step closer, either by showing he could go rounds with a grizzled opponent or by giving him the chance to make a major statement with a stoppage. Now, that trajectory pauses for at least a couple of months. 2 or 3 months might not sound like much to outsiders, but in boxing terms, it can shift the landscape. Other contenders move up, belts change hands, potential opponents take different paths. For a heavyweight division already full of storylines, older champions like Oleg Usyk, rivals like Joshua and others trying to hang on while new names push from below, every delay for a young star feels magnified. Franklin has to deal with the fallout as well. He would have gone through his own camp, his own sparring, all geared towards being ready on that exact date. For a fighter not sitting on a world title shot, these opportunities matter. A win over Itauma or even a strong showing could have reopened big doors for him. Now he has to hit the brakes, reset, and either wait for March 28th or find out if Queensberry can slide him onto something else in the meantime.
Queensberry's Magnificent Seven concept is also impacted. Cards built around multiple meaningful fights are designed to feel like events rather than just one main attraction with filler underneath. Spinning everything forward to March keeps the structure intact in theory, but it puts everyone in a holding pattern. Will every fighter be able to stick with that new date? Will injuries, cuts, or other obligations knock a few of them out? Those are the questions promoters and trainers quietly worry about as soon as a show gets bumped. Stepping back, this kind of situation also exposes how delicate the balance is when you're grooming the next big heavyweight star. Itauma has been blasting people out inside 2 rounds, and fans love it. But behind the scenes, serious people in the sport know that at some point, he needs rounds in his legs. He needs to see the middle rounds, maybe even the late ones. He needs to deal with moments where Plan A doesn't work instantly. Franklin was supposed to be one of those education fights, the kind where the risk is real, but the growth potential is huge. When young fighters skip that stage and jump straight into title shots based only on squash matches, they often get found out badly. Itauma's team seemed determined not to make that mistake. This postponement doesn't change their logic, it just adds some unwanted waiting time. The hype around Moses isn't going away because of one injury. If anything, a little bit of forced patience might end up helping him long-term, as long as the injury isn't serious. The concern from fans will be, is this the start of a pattern or just a one-off? Heavyweights carry a lot of weight through brutal training camps, and the wrong kind of injury can linger. We don't have details yet, so the only smart stance is cautious optimism. In the broader heavyweight picture, this all comes at a time when people are already talking about generational shifts. Established champions and contenders are edging into their mid-30s and beyond, while a crop of younger, hungrier fighters starts to gather on the fringes. Names like Itauma are brought up as the ones who might, in a couple of years, be the ones headlining massive stadium shows and pay-per-views. Every fight, every injury, every delay gets weighed against that imagined future. For now, the reality is simple. The January 24th showdown between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin isn't happening on that date. The Magnificent Seven show has been officially moved to March 28th at Co-op Live in Manchester. Itauma is sidelined temporarily by an injury from camp. Franklin, along with the rest of the fighters on the undercard, is waiting to find out exactly how his next couple of months will look. Between now and late March, you can expect the usual debates. Some will say Itauma should have pulled out of the fight entirely and gone straight for a title shot later in the year. Others will praise him for even wanting Franklin on his record at this stage. Some fans will grumble about another card being pushed back. Others will say they'd rather see a fully fit prospect than a compromised one. What's clear is that when Moses Itauma finally does make that walk again, the scrutiny will be intense. People aren't just watching to see if he wins, they're watching to see if the fighter Tyson Fury and others have been hyping as the next heavyweight force can handle adversity outside the ring as well as he handles opponents inside it. Injuries, postponements, reshuffled dates, they're all part of the game. How a young fighter navigates them is as much a part of his journey as any early round knockout. And for Itauma, the road to a world title just got a little longer and a little bumpier. But if he's really the future of the division, as so many believe, this layoff won't define him. What he does when that bell finally does ring again will.